Hey, everybody, welcome to episode 41 of the Austin Downbeat. It's been a minute coming to you from Austin, Texas, cold and icy, and hope that you all are staying safe. So, rundown is how we usually start the episode, and we're doing it today. But today, January 31st, last day of January, not a whole lot going on, not super safe. Shows are getting canceled left and right because the city is basically closed because of an ice storm. And it looks like tomorrow, February 1st, is going to be the same way. So we're going to pick it up at Groundhog's Day, February 2nd. Patrice Pike is at the Saxon Pub. On the 3rd, Jackie Venson is at Waterloo Records. On the 4th, Carolyn Wonderland is at Pootie's Roadhouse, as is Tamika Jones at ACL Live Moody Theater. On the 5th, you have the Resentments playing at the Saxon Pub. And on the 6th, you have Bob Schneider at the Saxon Pub. Lots happening at the Saxon. I love it there. So that's your rundown. It's kind of a weird week. I think the weather is all these shows, TBD. So make sure you're checking bands in town or your local music source so that you're making sure that folks are still playing before you go out there, and just be super, super careful. This is episode 41 of the show. And if you get a minute, it's a huge, huge help to me if you just click that subscribe button. You can also follow me on Instagram at Austin Downbeat, as well as at Cat is on the Radio. So those are our two handles here. And between the two, you kind of see show stuff and behind the scenes stuff. And not that I really care about the analytics, but they are an important and kind of necessary part of this whole thing. So a follow and a like and a subscribe goes a really long way. So I'm just going to put it out there. Okay, let's talk a little bit about my guest today is Sisi Berry. So former frontwoman of Torino Black. Her latest gig is her solo project. And if you know her from Torino, kind of throw all that away. This is a totally different kind of sound, and she is purely the one driving the car here in this endeavor, and it's so good. I loved talking to Sisi. She has such an amazing head on her shoulders. She is just a wonderful, beautiful, talented, down-to-earth woman, and just also really good at singing and writing songs and fronting a band. We talk about all kinds of stuff, but I think the real thing is to go and see her. So February 17th at the Cape Bottle Room here in Austin, there's going to be a listening room type of a show, which I love those. And so I will be pushing that out on social media so you can see details on that. But February 17th at the Cape Bottle Room, it's a wine place. And they are setting up this really cool listening room set up for her to play at. So her and her wonderful band. So anyway, enjoy my conversation with Sisi. She is talented and beautiful and smart and articulate, and we just have a great conversation. So I'm so happy to bring this to you guys, and enjoy. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to this. I've been diving into all things Sisi, and just it leaves me with lots of interest and questions, and I'm really looking forward. Thank you so much for coming on and spending some time.
I was so excited that I was 8 hours early to this.
Yes, for the record, this is not probably typical of what people would think of people that do what you do.
Yeah.
Yes, this girl.
For the record of everybody that doesn't think I can be early, I was.
Boom, 8 hours.
8 hours, beat that. Mic drop. Yeah.
I love it. Well, good. So let's kind of start. You are from Venezuela. Are you born and raised?
My family's from Venezuela, but I'm a military brat, a little bit of everywhere.
Oh.
Raised a little bit of everywhere. but raised by my mother and my very Venezuelan family. So regardless of where we lived, be it Venezuela or Germany or Washington or New Orleans or El Paso, it was under a very Venezuelan house. So my nature and the way that I am is very much representative of my family. At the same time, we all kind of feel very chameleon. So we're
Yeah.
military brats, and any military brat will kind of say the same. We're from wherever we need to kind of be from, depending on the conversation. But
Hmm.
once you meet, my family and all of us, it's a lot of Latino in there. So I really I feel like my mother's daughter. You know what I mean?
That's good. I don't think I've ever
Yeah.
met anyone from Venezuela. It got me thinking about like, oh wow, I don't think I've ever met anyone from there. I mean, what's a very Venezuelan thing that sort of separates that country from other Latina countries?
Woo.
I mean, how
Uh,
would you do it?
well, for starters, in Austin, if you haven't been to Four Brothers, which is a great food truck that makes Venezuelan food,
I've heard
arepas are the whole thing. Much to my mother's dismay, I have a tattoo that even is about this cuisine that for me is like my Venezuelan flag. Not all of my life is in Venezuela. A lot of my life, like I said, is from a little bit of everywhere, but very much under my mom's house, making arepas every day with my grandma. So I have that is the little
Oh,
lady you'll find on the arepa pack of harina pan, which is
what is
hilarious, but also not what any actual classic Venezuelan mother would like to see, which is funny.
which
And
is
we're still working on
hilarious.
that. Hilarious and still a difficult conversation. But
I love
yeah, Venezuelans love to dance. They talk a bunch. They love their families obsessively and have a ton of opinions when you see them again for the holidays about you and the life you do, but it's all part of it. I mean, any Venezuelan, I think that people, that's generalizing, but most of the time that I run into someone that's met Venezuelans in Austin, they're always like, man, I know this Venezuelan. They're just like the chillest, most down to earth person. And
ah,
I feel like that's really consistent. There's no Venezuelan that's trying to do anything, you know, more than just chill, have a glass, maybe dance, cook some
yeah,
food, you know,
yeah.
talk,
Sing.
sing. Yeah. What's funny is in Venezuela, I didn't, or in my household in general, not just Venezuela, and all the places that I lived in, primarily in San Antonio, it wasn't necessarily like because we grew up with music and playing music. It was mostly that we just danced a bunch. We
Oh,
just danced a lot. It wasn't like it was the scene, or something.
right.
Just a bunch
So
of dancing, bunch of loud music all the time.
when did the music thing happen for you? When did you, I mean, you have a beautiful, beautiful voice. It's kind of insane. I think you probably know that though. Like,
For saying
I
that.
mean, you have ears and
They're
yeah,
very small.
it's very, very beautiful and unique and so soulful. And it's interesting because we're going to talk a little bit about you had a band, you fronted a band, Torino Black, which
Mhm.
I would say is more rock.
Definitely more rock and roll, for sure.
Yeah. And now your new solo stuff is, I wrote down velvety and juicy.
Let's go. Okay.
I'm like, let's just whatever comes in my brain.
Yeah, I'm for it.
But yeah, like I I can still hear the power of what fueled you in a rock, fronting a rock situation.
Yeah.
But this like your good time and like good time, especially, it's just like it reminds me, it has this kind of like vintage feel, like kind of
Yeah.
old timey feel. You talk about that a little bit, and then I want to get back to the original question of just like you kind of learning that you're like, wow, I'm really good at singing, and this is what I maybe want to do. But
Um,
how would you characterize your
the
solo
new
stuff?
sound.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because defining defining your own stuff is always really weird because
Yeah.
you're it's not like I like set out to be a certain genre, although that seems like a wise thing to do for people to just like hone in on one character sound and
Sure.
really capitalize inside of it. But in the discovery of just seeing what I'm writing in general and wanting to put out and play just what excites me, a lot of the stuff I've been writing in the last 2.5 years has been a lot of kind of melancholy, more groove and energy driven, tunes than just me screaming my ass off, really. And that was so fun, and is still what I do on stage. And you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
the setting, and I guess the song's purpose kind of changed
Yeah.
in these songs that I've been writing and putting out. And I've always been really lyric focused. I've always considered myself a writer first. Just because regardless of a song getting out or not, I'm writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Long stories or little poems or half written songs that I never sing anything to, but I've got some good lyrics to it. And the new sound is kind of getting made up as it comes. And I'm just letting it do its own thing. With Good Time, I wrote Good Time. Oh, my dog just hit my thing. She wants on the interview. With Good Time, I wrote it like 3 years ago. At the very, very beginnings, almost 3 years ago, I guess, at the very beginnings of COVID. Towards the end of March, when I sent it to my friend, really hungover actually. And it's the song of, kind of starting over. And the irony of it is that people hear Good Time and it's such a bop and whatever, but really it's when I was first trying to just let people know that I'm okay and that I'm trying to go out, but like, don't ask me questions about anything because this shit's hard and I'm just starting over, and let's just dance and not ask anything about anything else.
Yeah.
But it's been fun. Not every song is like Good Time either. So I only put out 2 new songs in the project, but in playing in Austin for the last 7-8 years, it feels kind of silly and hard on my ego, which is dumb, to only have 2 songs out and feel so new in a city that I'm playing in for so long. So that's been a challenge in restarting, but that's just one of the challenges, not all of the benefits of coming back out with a new project and and just being able to recreate some sounds which aren't in any way intentionally different than Torino, as much as they are just what I've been writing now.
Is it so much of a new start, or is it a continuation?
I think there are tangled parts of both. I think there's a continuation of the performances that I've been giving in Austin, and the scene that I've been playing with, and the people that I've been playing with and sharing stages with for the last 7 years. That feels continual, and I felt that in this, like, hey, I'm back to playing, and the scene that I've been playing with in Austin being so receiving and so excited, and just immediately booking as if I didn't skip a beat. And that felt, I was nervous about that part, and that felt like like those friends that you don't have to call all the time, but then when you show up, it's like nothing ever changed. That's what it felt like coming back out to Austin with the scene that I've been playing with. So in that way, it does feel like a continuation, but the newness is that it's my name. You know what I mean? It's my name. It's mine in all that way. But I'm playing with. I mean, it doesn't feel like a solo project as much as it just feels like that I have the responsibility of guiding the ship. And the guys I'm playing with are guys that are among the most talented in Austin that I've been playing with for years in different capacities as well. So the newness and oldness are definitely tangled. Newness in that I'm driving the car. It's my car, that whole bit. But the oldness is that I'm in Austin. I've been singing here. It's still silly old me.
How does that feel to be the one driving the car? Does it feel good?
Really good. Really good.
Yeah.
That, I think everybody likes a little bit of that control.
It's a lot of responsibility, though.
Definitely.
So
it's a lot of responsibility, but it's there's clarity, right? There's a lot of clarity in one person driving a car, and every band is different, and that's not a dig at my entirety of being in Torino. I loved everything that we did and created in the city. I just am excited to drive the car.
Yeah. What have you learned from how is Sisi different, not just from the way that you're singing and all of that, but you, the person, the human being? What, I guess the question ultimately leads to, what have you learned, and did you learn it the easy way or hard way, or what the Sisi that was fronting Torino and making such amazing music. And that was such a wonderful band. And I love everything that you guys did. That sound was so good. Then COVID happens, life happens, and it's all good, right? And
COVID and life happens, and it just, you know, it's life. Some things
yeah,
work in under those types of conditions, and some things don't.
sure.
Uh, and this just kind of unraveled as it needed to, and left space to either you're gonna keep playing, kid, or you're gonna be done,
Yeah.
kid, you know. And I filled in the gaps on my own.
So what would you say would be your biggest lesson sort of extracted or that, or like how are you different and like positively?
Yeah. My biggest takeaway is that I love playing in Austin. I learned that. I knew that from the second we played, but there's something else about like really cultivating the craft. We toured a bunch, we toured overseas, you know, and it was always so, it was invaluable to be playing, to be a musician from Austin, wherever we were playing and wherever I am from as a military brat and blah blah blah. To be like, I'm a musician from Austin, Texas,
Hmm.
made me really proud. And I feel really great being here still to continue to cultivate whatever that means. This just feels like the right place to be,
Hmm.
not for any other, not in like a just Austin way, but that this just I love playing, I love being involved with the music scene here. It just feels like some real deal people that care about each other, and that'll tell you like it is, and they'll you know, put a little fire under your ass when you need to have one, and
Yeah, and at the same
may figure
time,
a way, right? They'll be like, hey,
yeah,
like no one's gonna do it for you, you know.
yeah, yeah. I wonder if being military kid, you probably weren't a brat.
Not a brat, but I was a little bossy.
I know. You
That's my
have that
sibling.
Venezuelan fire in you.
Yeah.
But I wonder if having that military thing moving around, I find it you know, pleasantly coincidental that doing what you do kind of allows you this kind of the dichotomy of going on tour and traveling around and then automatically in the same conversation gives you a place that you go on tour from.
Yeah.
I have to choose a place where I'm from. And
Yeah.
and you're probably never really able to do that for a long period of time. And so it's just it's interesting that you get to
Totally.
have that now. Like what a gift that must be.
It definitely. Everyone asks, was it hard as a military kid? And I was like, I'm one of five brothers and sisters. We're very close. Moving around was really fun. I'd never really recognized it to be
Yeah.
chaos or anything like that. We moved a lot. That's all. It wasn't like goodbye, friends. I was like, bye, you know, and then we keep up and whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely noticeable in everything about me as an adult to notice the nuances that formed me. Definitely I'm really easygoing, and I pack light, and I don't. I've worn the same stuff. I have the same shit since I was in fourth grade. Like
I love that.
my sister for Christmas gifted me some new workout things because she's like, every time you post something, it's the same stuff since when we were in fourth and fifth grade. So it's time, and I'm like, yeah, I guess so. You
Oh,
know,
that's
but shout
hysterical.
out, really good gift. So I appreciate it.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah,
love
there's
that.
nuances for sure. I'm very easygoing. Nothing really stresses me in that kind of way. I don't mind moving around. I can fall asleep standing up. Any Latino kid will say that because we're raised at like a pseudo rave where our mom is holding us while they're still dancing, you know, and you're asleep on the couch while they're still dancing.
Yeah. Oh, that's so
But
cool.
little superpowers of half military brat, half Latino kid.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love that. What's so do you do music full time or what's your kind of day to day?
No. I mean, I'd love to do music full time. I have a job that supports the dream, and I always have actually.
Mhm.
Uh, it's there's been dances between being full time for a chunk of months because we're on tour, and then I'll come back and
Yeah.
do a bit. But I work in the wine industry.
Ooh.
I've worked on all sides of the wine industry, on the wine making side, on the wine chemistry side. in the psalm world. Um,
Love
and
it.
I'm a wine director right now. I
Oh,
help make lists and train teams, and
yeah.
I'm really, really grateful for my job.
I
Very
love
people.
wine. In
I,
fact, we both have a glass of wine.
but
Maybe I'm part Venezuelan. Maybe I'm your
100
sister.
maybe. Yeah, the goal, maybe not everybody, but that's generalizing. But for me, I would love the opportunity to see, you know, what I could do and what I could get done if music was fully my full-time job. But I love the job that I do. I feel good at it, and I feel like I give value to where I am and the people that I get to work with in the hospitality industry. Along with that, I am the one of the older siblings, and all I want in the world is to take care of my family and
Aw.
take care of my mom. So whichever, I always joke, whichever one gets there first is
Yeah.
how I've been doing things. Uh and I like being able to take care of my family. That's really
Yeah.
the main of it.
Oh, what a sweetheart. Well, I mean, if you have to have a day job, doing
Mm,
stuff in wine is, I used to be, before I had kiddos, I had a wonderful palate and I was a total wine snob. And I'm from California and I'd go up to Napa um, and,
amazing.
so it's just so amazing. Yeah,
It's a beautiful industry and a lot of incredible creatives, and this city again fosters it beautifully.
it does.
Um, some of the most brilliant, you know, wine professionals, wine shops, restaurants, somms. I can't say enough. I could name, you know, 30 that we should all go to. I'll list them out and you can put it in the
Yes.
bottom.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. I'm slowly getting back into it and just kind of, I love a Pinot Noir is my favorite. That's my favorite varietal. That's kind of like what I would, just grab at first,
Yeah.
whatever. But I'm totally down I love a French Burgundy too. I like the hardworking blue collar,
Yeah.
gritty French grape that has to work really hard in that dirt
Yeah.
and weather.
Yeah. Yeah. That's totally right. Is that what you're
Appreciate it.
drinking? What?
No, this is migration. I got this as a
Yeah.
gift. And I want to say it's Sonoma. It's a Pinot Noir migration.
Mhm.
I think it's
Yeah. Isn't that by Duckhorn?
what?
I believe that's the upper tier of a producer called Duckhorn.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
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 I mean, love it.
I love it. Okay, so that's during the day. What?
During the day, during the night, and they mingle. I mean,
Oh,
I
really?
sing there all the time. They're as supportive as it comes. I
Oh,
mean,
that's so great.
when I did my single release at Antone's, that place was packed with all of my coworkers, and they're the first ones to be like, you know, all the things.
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
there's a reason that they're tangled. I think there's a reason that I've worked in wine as long as I have, and been doing music at the same time. I don't feel everyone goes in waves of being like, I should have this by now, or I should have this by now. And kind of a proponent of it is as it should be, and there's a reason
yeah.
somewhere tangled in there, whether I get it or not, whether I'm a little more tired than I'd like to look, you know, or whatever. But I'm having a good time, and I feel lucky. So
That's a really refreshing perspective because you're right. I think sometimes people really draw these lines and to try to untangle our bits of life and the things that we love. But isn't that what makes us the complex humans that we are? That like
yeah,
we have so many things going on. Like I have two kids and they are my life. I
right.
also have this show and like I have lots of things happening in my life. I'm never going to just be one thing. So why do we do that when it comes to, is it the success is sort of making it as a musician, does that sort of funnel into like, oh, it can only look like this sort of thing? Why do
I
we do
think I think at least for me, I'm aware that everybody, including myself, is not one dimensional,
that?
right? And then even in moments right now where I can on a good day that I'm, you know, blah blah, be like,
Yeah.
there's a reason I came straight from work and by the buzzer sat right here and put my thing on, like that worked out. But it's not like that every day. It would be a lie for me to say that. Rich or Dead, which is the entirety of that song is basically about how like I'd like it to not be that all the time.
Right.
Most of the time, riddled with anxiety of when is the treadmill going to stop? Am I a hustler forever?
Mm.
Is there a part where I could just write a check to my mom and then also invite her to the show? Or do I, all the things. Everyone is lying if they're always feeling just immense gratitude. While that's a good place to start to subdue the anxieties of our day-to-day lives as humans that we all go through as a human condition, I think they come in waves. I think depending on whatever hard part is happening, it makes more sense to try and have the scapegoat in your life. So if I only worked today a bunch, and I craved writing music, then I'm gonna go, God damn it, I didn't get to write anything today. I'm never get because I'm working all the time. But that was just today. Maybe on a day and I get all this stuff done, and then I go, God, with my one day off, I did all this stuff. I wonder what I'd be like if I had all these days off to just be doing music. And then you get tangled in all the what ifs of the versions of yourself and the hypotheticals. And I think those take over. I think that our headspaces are really sacred, and whatever we can do to keep them in a general realism that's healthy with sprinkles of ambition and awareness of the day-to-day shit you got to do. Because you know what I mean? You manifest here, you do the work over here, you show up for what you got to do over there, and do that, rinse and repeat every day without the grandioseness of, I don't know, crumbling about everything. I think we're just a collection of days. And you do one day as well as you can, do the next day as potently as you can, and see if by the end of a good collection of good habits and days, consistency is valuable. And I don't know that a lot of us are practicing consistency when we do that thing where we pitfall and go, why is everything so terrible?
Yeah.
Probably we either stayed out too late or drank too much or worked too much and didn't balance the day proper, or something. We find a reason.
Yeah.
That's me rambling on it. I think about this all the time. It completely takes my mind. I do.
I cannot wait to play this back and re-listen to that, because I'm like, everything you're saying, I'm like, yes. No, I'm like, this is all truth. When you first started talking and you said your first sentence, I was like, oh, we gotta stitch that on a pillow somewhere. We're like, we gotta tattoo that on my forehead. Then you said more, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna want to rewatch this and just really remember, because everything you said is so true, and everything you said is so universal, regardless of what you do and what you love and where your intersection of passion and gifts lies, whatever that is, right? We all have that intersection. It doesn't have to be music, so yay for that. And I can't wait to play that back so I can let it go deep.
And nor am I like, I got the balance of this and that.
Nobody does.
It's the few people that follow me and whatever know that all I'm doing is like, I have to wake my ass up and work out or I'll lose my shit. I get sometimes people message me like, what are you training for? And I'm like, life, bitch. Life. I'm trying to not lose my shit. I'm trying to show up.
Wait, when do you work out?
When?
Yeah, like what's your deal? Because I gotta get something going. I work out
every day. If I don't, you'll know, because I'll be like, fuck. But either at 6:15 or 7:30, I love Orange Theory. I live across the street from it, and I do well with things that hold me accountable. If you sign up for that, then they charge you if you don't go.
You're like, I better go.
Like $12. That's a glass of wine. That's a glass. That's at least an hors d'oeuvre. And I measure everything in those two things. One, because I'm hospitality, and two, because I love it.
It's brilliant.
Right. So don't go, they charge you. And I'm like, shit. And then it's across the street. So the goal on little patterns like that is saying, what will you do the most often? Like, what will you actually show up to? I'll show up to something that's very close. So no, not the apartment complex gym, because that's not going to get mad at me if I don't go. My wallet though.
Yeah. I have a gym in my apartment. I have a 10K. I signed up for a 10K, the cap 10K.
Ah,
Um,
amazing.
yeah, but I should be training for it. And I, like you, need someone to hold me accountable because
Yeah.
this gal is not doing it. And so this month is supposed to be my month, and I'm mostly doing it. I just am struggling because I don't have a lot of time. And so when I do have time, I am not in the mood,
Yeah.
and I talk myself out of it. But I should
There's
set
a
myself.
million podcasts, but there's one, something different clicks every day. I'm just going to sound like a self-help book right now, but there's a podcast where the guy's like, and it's one of the collections of all the people that we know. It's either Tony Robbins or Andrew Huberman or
Yeah.
all the people I listen to. So I sound crazy, but where he's like, it's not a negotiation. It's like, I don't negotiate with my head. It's just what we do. Like you can bitch about it all you want, but like it's not a negotiation between what my soul knows I got to do and what my body's in the mood for. Like I can wake up and be like, fuck, I do not want to do this. And then my body and my soul's response is, it's not a negotiation, kid. Get up. And
Like,
then those little crazy people in my head are talking. And then I got to be like, well, obviously I'm going to listen to that guy, which like
yeah.
this
Yeah.
podcast is just going to make me sound crazy.
You don't
But
sound
there's
crazy at all. Are you kidding me?
normal.
You're
I
just
know
speaking the
everyone.
truth. No, this is fantastic. This is like valuable stuff. I'm learning.
And I'm not preaching either. This is literally me talking to this is my
Yeah.
self-talk every day.
Well,
I
yeah,
know.
let me into your head. I want to be in your
Yeah.
head. Yeah.
Well, it starts with that. Much to everyone's surprise. The whole music thing or any ambition I have, if I don't have my head and my health straight, I'm not doing shit.
Yeah.
My last on this, I'm sorry.
Yes. Yes. This is just on YouTube. It's, yeah.
Okay, cool.
We can say whatever we want. I love it. I love a good swear word. Um, well, so that, okay, so we got to have our workout, which then in turn puts your mind kind of in the right spot.
Well,
And then
yeah, but that
walk,
check care
yeah.
yourself.
What inspires you? Like when do you find yourself sort of being inspired, or when do you go to like do you try to play your guitar every day and kind of
Yeah,
sing it right every day?
yeah. I mean, there's no dining room table in our apartment because this focuses. It's this music corner. It's the setup of being able to play. It's the reminder on a daily basis that this
Job.
is like this is where you're supposed, this is a responsibility just as much as a shower is, just as much as anything else, and unless you see it that way, then you're not going to do it. You're just not. So for me, other people are like, it's natural. I coexist with it. And I'm like, yes, me too. Definitely. But I've chosen a style of life that allows me to take care of my family and economically, financially, and something that I'm passionate about that I also feel like is helping and supporting, my music. And that comes with, all right, well then you got to get real detailed on how you're going to spend your time. That's
Yeah.
all. So
Are
you reel
you
it
are you organized in general as a person?
uh in my own way. There are certainly more. If my sister watches this, she's like, I was the organized one. I'm organized in my way. Certainly, I don't leave the house unless the bed is made and the house is reset and all of that. I'd make lists daily, but I have to be on paper. I'm not,
Yes.
I'm yeah, I'm all of those things, but I don't know if I would categorize myself as like, oh, Sisi, she's organized. Like,
Yeah.
there's a million other adjectives that would come up before organized. But I don't
I'm
even
the
want to know
same
what they are.
way.
Nobody.
I am the exact same way. I reset the house before. Like everything kind of has to be. So I feel like Mr. Rogers in a way. Like, okay, this is so then I can move on to the next thing. And then I know in my head, like when I come home, everything's going to be there to greet me in a way that makes me calm and I can do what I want to do.
Because
Yeah.
it's that you're going to go to that because it's an immediate fix that you can handle. And by the end of it, you're like, well, time's past, time for dinner.
Yes. I think, yeah, same brain. Um, all right, what was I going to ask you? what's happening music wise for you right now? What's on the horizon? I feel like you're probably coming up with
So I'm a Bruin. Um, I play with the best. I love who I'm playing with, and all my bandmates. We just have the best time, and that makes it all the like incredible to want to plan things. Really, it just changes the, the feeling of, I want to impress them too. I want to hang out with them all the time. So we've got things coming up, mostly just for the next 2 months. A couple little nuanced brewings that'll come, but generally it's that we're starting to put out the record that will probably come out in the fall. But we've got a ton of really great shows at the end of February and beginning in March for South by that we'll be playing. I'm really excited about. And we're making those business moves, you know what I mean? Just trying to strategize and do things really curated, I think is kind of how I would call it, the way that I'm trying to do things now.
Yeah.
Being really selective, but also open to anything, but just staying consistent and putting out the music. In the silliest way, what's new to me and what I've never done before is that I'm trying to be more active on social media, which, is some people have strengths and weaknesses, and social media is my weakness. For as like as I am, I'm kind of private
Yeah.
and how, do my things as I do them. But again, that's just a version of procrastination or just steps away from what your goal is. The goal is to play my music. I should share my music. That has nothing to do with, not being private or not being this or that. It's just kind of swallowing your pride and being like, shut up and do the thing.
Yeah.
And that's good. Saying shut up to myself, and you want to sing, go on, sing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people that I talk to have a similar relationship with social media. It's hard and it's weird. At the same time, it's a real gift in a way. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I've said this before. Like, I'm a kid of the 80s, and like we didn't have this. I didn't grow up with a computer. I didn't grow up with a cell phone. I didn't grow up with any of that. And so, when I wanted to hear new music, we had to sit and wait for the premiere on MTV or go buy the record or the cassette or whatever, right? And so I feel like my generation kind of has a foot on both sides of the fence, where I also have to do social media and promotion and whatever, but I also kind of see it as like it's a real big fat gift.
why?
Right?
There's no doubt about the amount of music and art that we all get to experience because of it. And
Yeah.
the second I stop not seeing it as that, then you want to dive in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do. It's just
Yeah.
very, very bizarre to me, and it's not. And it's not because I'm not any of those things. But the irony of it is, I'm like, I can't do social media. I can't learn all these little dances, and that's not how. But like, also in my other side of my brain, I'm like, shut up, you love to dance.
I
But it's
know.
those dances. I just want to. I'm not that. I just don't do that.
I
And
know.
I just want to perform, and finding my own voice and version of that on social media is still really new. So
Yeah.
for the last few months and whatever, it's been humorous and humbling and exciting to try new things and really step forward and in being more present.
Yeah. I kind of have this attitude of like, you know what? Fuck it. It's really
100% just fuck it. Like, it doesn't matter. It
no,
doesn't matter.
no. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. And this is what I love. It gives me so much comfort. Is it really nobody gives a shit and nobody's thinking about me? Nobody. I mean, and
And
if someone does, it's for like a split second and they have
yeah,
moved on. It doesn't matter.
at all. And it's usually a reflection in some way of their self.
Yes,
They're
always.
doing it and self I don't know, they're coexisting in it in a different way than we are.
Right.
so it has less to do with us. And you
Yes.
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I'm not aware. I mean, I'm not unaware of that. It just on a personal level, social media is a reflection of yourself. So you're playing with your own insecurities, you know, in a
Yeah.
really different way than I ever have. I didn't grow up with this either. Um, even though it was like in my high school and in my college, I didn't have an iPhone. You know, I had a flip phone until I was forever old, and um, I never had a MySpace, even though all my friends, it was just not the way that I communicated. And even with CDs, like I said, I didn't necessarily like listen to music. I wrote a lot of music. I
Mm.
wrote in car my whole life, but I wasn't like jamming out to stuff. I was just like getting shit out of my head, and it was more therapeutic than
Yeah.
anything. I didn't like grow up with, you know, bopping this or inspired by that. I was just writing with my sister in my twin size bed
Oh,
in my, you know what I mean? It's really as simple as that. So
that's
uh,
really interesting. I don't know that I've ever talked to anyone, especially a musician, that has said that. And I think that makes me look so much more forward to like all the things that are coming out of you, because it feels like they're a little more pristine, a little more like, it just clues me in to think like, wow, this is the that you maybe have a deeper depth to your
huh,
who you are than, not that it's a competition, but do you know what I'm saying? Like, because most of us are like, I grew up listening to, I mean, I grew up listening to all kinds of music, but certainly like the 80s pop music of like, Prince and Madonna and Michael Jackson, and like those were the big
yeah,
three. And then also all the dad music, right? Like Billy Joel and America and the
yeah.
Eagles and, John Cougar Mellencamp and all that stuff. Um, but if you didn't really have that in your head and you're still writing, like, oh my God, like I want to hear that stuff. I want to hear what's purely Sisi. That makes
Right.
me very
That's
interested.
really nice. I mean, it's not that I went through my life like with
No, I
no
know, but
discovered as much as just it wasn't like, yeah, we did, yeah, like I said, we didn't really like listen to bands. We knew it was on the radio and stuff, but I wasn't like sitting in my room with my headphones, like all the movies of like the kid who's just like, fuck
sure.
you, mom. Like, you know,
Yeah.
listening. I was babysitting a lot as a kid, and I was writing mostly for like therapy of my understanding of what the hell was going on with my life.
Yeah.
And my is younger than me. She's 5 years younger than me, but she's always been a poet since I was 17 and she was 11, and she was writing it like extraordinary. We would just write. It was like our fun thing. So yeah, it was never necessarily about, you know, a goal of doing music or anything like that, as much as that we really liked it, and it helped us, you know, process life. And it
Yeah.
was free hangout in our room together, and we were really
Yeah.
proud of came out of you know, came out writing too, even if it was just to sing to my mom.
Yeah.
So
Oh, that's so cool. I too have written my whole life and I still do, but basically every day. And I recently moved and I have big Rubbermaid bin of like all of my books of writing. And, there's like some
amazing.
diaries in there, but the writing was really the way that I processed too. And it naturally comes out in, in poetic kind of verses form, and
Yeah.
it's a really great way to process what's going on
Oh yeah, that
in
was
life.
the main. It was less about wanting to sing or anything like that, and more of it's just like, can I put what I'm feeling into a
Into
certain
words.
way that feels like it's nice and not so chaotic or something. But then obviously later you get obsessed with certain songs and certain styles as you need them through life, right? That was kind of more the way I listened to music, and less about like what was on the radio or something. If I was in college, there was the station that a phase that all of us went through. It's not a phase, they're incredible, but like listening to Damien Rice and Joshua Radin, and that moment where you only listened to them because they made sense to where you were, and then you move on to a different
Yeah.
mood that totally takes you. And it's, yeah, I've never necessarily had like a genre of um
Yeah.
anything to do, because it was just like I said, we're not all one dimensional at all. And sometimes I felt Spanish music and raging, and sometimes it was hard rock and roll and Grace Potter and Janice,
Uh,
and then sometimes it's like other shit. I don't know. You just are little moments of different
we
moods.
are, yeah, we're like all these fleeting things. I remember I was living in Germany and Alanis Morissette, You Ought to Know, came out. And the only thing I spoke a little bit of German, but the only thing I would really watch on TV was Vivo, and that was like their MTV.
Yeah,
And I remember standing in the middle of my living room and her video came out for You Ought to Know. And my jaw just dropped to the ground. And I was like, that's how I write. That is like raw truth. Just let the lyrics lead
yeah,
the point, right? And I just remember that being so validating. Just me, a little nobody in the middle of a living room in Dusseldorf.
yeah,
um, in the, like that was so powerful to me. Not that I ever do anything with what I write, but like somebody spoke the truth in the way that I write what's true
yeah,
for me. And that is so, I think that's what's so ultimately so powerful of what you do and people that sing and write is like you take the truth and you just like hold up that megaphone for all of us listening and go like, yeah, me too, yeah, hey, that's it, like that's the feeling. Because I think at the end of the day it really is just about validating feelings, would you say?
yeah. Connecting it. I think you had said something just then that you said not that I was gonna do it. I would write all the time, not that I was gonna do anything with my writing. And I don't think that I think that you had written is the thing that you do
Is
with
the
your
thing,
writing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, I don't think that anybody has to do anything with their writing. The fact that you have written is the giving craft in itself to yourself.
Yeah,
Uh,
good point.
and if you want it to develop or whatever into other versions of giving back, into yourself or via different facets, and that's that part. But I think that and maybe I'm just speaking again for my own perspective, I've written so much shit that I'll never put out because
Mm.
they're just some almost song or a couple moments that I'm like, oh my God, if I could just sit down and finish them. But some of them were just what I was feeling just then, and they were in fact a finished thought. In fact, probably some of them can stay that way. And the ones that I finish are the ones that I crave to finish, and that the emotion is still untangling, or I'm still brushing the hair out. You know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. It all happens as it should, but at the same time, if you want to finish something, you will. And if it was just that, then it was just that. That's okay too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Needed to be then, then as well.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what I tell myself, to be okay with procrastinating on finishing songs. But then I just go in a circle of madness. So for now, I do my due diligence of making a list of the goals and things I need to finish, things I need to accomplish, things I need to flesh out, to make fully formed thoughts and really create something instead of just being like, finish the song. But like, if you really round it out and really gave it life, how much more air would it breathe in the world? You know what I mean? Instead of just breathing enough for me. And that's kind of where I'm at right now with the songs and more than anything, the shows, and cultivating the show's performance that's where I really feel like lucky. I feel the most gratitude when I'm in front of people.
Mm.
I think that's why social media is really hard for me, because I don't get it and I don't feel close, and I get people and all this, but I want to be there and I want to have shared something. So the performances are a big deal to me. The guys I get to play with, it just feels like it's huge, radiant blessing. When we get to be on stage together and they don't make me feel like a crazy person, and I'm just obsessed with them.
Can you tell me the
Yeah, it's Michael Martinez. He's an incredible keys player, and he's just the funniest human. We call him Milky Way. Way is Guey.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Milky Way. Scotty Blanco. He is the lead singer of Finite Fidelity as well. He just put out a record called Violetta, which is amazing. They just played at Saxon. He is a savant. He plays everything. He was previously the bassist in Torino Black. Now is guitarist in Sisi. Taylor Wilkins of Otis the Destroyer and Otis Wilkins, slapping the bass, and Eric Garcia on the drums, who they all are individual independent artists on their own and very established in this city, and I feel super lucky to get to share space with them. We just have a really good time, and it's too much fun.
I love that. Well, you can see it in your face when you
I love
absolutely light up when you talk about them. That's why I was like, we gotta name them because
I love boys. Yeah.
yeah. So you have a couple shows. So this episode's going to air next Tuesday, which is just, just a week away. So shows coming up. Can you think of any to
So
name?
for now, finishing out January and the beginnings of February, we're going to be recording and just putting out some content, which is amazing and new. So I'm trying to take that as that.
Yeah.
We're going to commit songwriters listening room show at one of my favorite wine spots in Austin on February 17th at the Cape Bottle Room.
Okay.
We're going to do a little kind of listening room style performance. That'll be the last the day that we announce our South by shows that we'll have in March. We're playing a bunch in March at some cool spots.
Good.
So that'll be kind of the most intimate, and I'm trying to be stoked on those opportunities, because we played one really similarly in the Pershing, in those listening room environments. And they kind of take you by surprise, take your breath away for a second, because it's almost less about that, like how loud, how much can I get them moving, how loud can I get, and refocuses on, again, like the thing that I'm focusing on the most, which is the performance and the song's fullness, the performance's fullness and purpose, rather than just being like, how crazy can I be on stage or something, which is never the goal, but you end up feeling responsible for people's joy that night. And you want them having a good time. And sometimes when people are just listening and watching, you're like, are you guys okay, or am I just totally
right.
sorry about the songs? Can I get around on me, fuck it, like you just get kind of stressed out, and sometimes you need people to be like, everyone okay? And it's not my sales pitch on stage. It's like, no, really, give me a sign of life.
Yeah.
So those performances, though, at the end of it, I feel fullness and feel so connected. And it kind of challenges my songwriting too, is that if they're gonna hear it, you better write well. Like, don't be a lazy writer. If I'm gonna get there to have people's time and attention for that kind of space, I better not waste their time with lazy writing. Give them purpose and good songs to connect to.
Yeah.
Not just
Well, I think you do that. I think you do that naturally, but it's good that you have that as a thing in your head, but I wouldn't stress over that.
Person, I'm so sorry. I'm just like,
no, you're doing great. Unfortunately, we gotta wrap this up though. Unfortunately, I could talk. I feel like we should hang out. I feel like we might have the same brain.
Well, I hope you'd come to that show at the Cape Wine, and anybody that loves wine. It's a super beautiful boutique South African wine shop, one tasting room. South African, 100%.
I love it. I'm so there.
And and they're just up the road, and to foster that kind of space is also that kind of special thing about Austin. That there's spots that go, yeah, let's do that. Let's give you the whole space. Let's make it a moment and a thing, and tell us how we can support. And that's Austin for you, so.
Yeah, I mean, I love the city. I love the community. I think it's changing, but I also think that that's not always a bad thing. I don't think it's losing its heart. There still is so much heart and soul in the city that just loves people that do what you do. And I'm so glad that you're feeling embraced by that. And I'm so glad it just sounds like you have such amazing people around you. And that makes me really happy. It's one of the reasons why I do this, is just talk to people that do what you do, and just remind people how important it is to support people like you, people that do this. And just for us,
and giving all the time, all this kind of time to fully dive into it, to a person and to what they're doing and where they've been, even if they're starting over. That's you taking a risk to me. You know what I mean? So I'm grateful for you keeping an eye on me, and
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you on, and I'm so happy to get a chance to kind of just spend some time with you and get to know you because I love what I hear. I love what I see on social media. Even though, it's not fun.
I'll take it.
But yeah, it means a lot just to be able to sit down and have a conversation with someone these days. And I would like to take it another step further. I'm going to come to that show and see you in person.
Hell
I will shout it from the rooftops for everyone to join. Sisi, thank you so much for coming
yeah.
on.
Thank you so much. This was so delightful.
This was so much fun.
You do. Seriously, this is so lovely.
Oh,
So
oh,
grateful.
it's an honor and a pleasure.
Wine soon.
Wine soon. Yes, done. All right. Well, that does it. It went by too fast, but that does it for another episode of the Austin Downbeat. I'm Kat, your host, and that is Sisi Berry. Thank you so much for coming, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you.